Lots of stories to talk about tonight, from the horror community to the MCU's multiverse, and from the DCEU to Rocky. Grab you a cold drink, maybe pop some popcorn, get ready to hang with us because this is Let's Talk Movie News. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope y'all are well. It's been a few weeks since we had a movie news show. But buddy, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing.
I mean the ghost behind you.
How you doing, buddy? I'm not gonna lie.
Did you get him a beer? Get his ass a beer.
I did not get him a beer. I'm a terrible house guest. Fuck that ghost. you know, you know how Bernie Mac was? He was like, he's overseeing like, fuck the kids. Fuck that ghost. He don't need a beer.
America.
America.
Dude, I used to love Bernie Mac, man. I used to watch Bernie Mac show all the time.
Yeah, R.I.P. Bernie Mac, man. My fucking idol.
No, he was great. He was so great.
Well, there was a. Sorry, yo, I gotta say.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Have you seen like his stand up? It's by far funny as hell.
Oh, dude, he was hilarious. It's a shame.
I've seen one. Yeah, I remember my boy Krishan. Shout out Krishan, by the way. And he showed me this clip. It was whenever he was like, he was taking care of his, I think it was his sister's kids. And he was like, I think the phrase he kept saying was like, "You want some milk and cookies?" I was like, whoa,
yeah.
that scene right there, the milk and cookie one. Guys, if you haven't seen that, check it out. Bernie Mac, fucking legend.
Man. He was a great.
Yeah. Let's get on the movie news.
Well, guys, we got a whole bunch to talk about tonight. Like I said, it's been a week. There's been a lot going on with the two of us, actually, personally, right now. We've been busy. We didn't have a movie news show last week. My wife actually just had surgery on Monday. Everything's all good. She had some issues with her foot, so they just did some surgery to fix that and prevent some future problems. So we. No, they didn't. We didn't amputate, but she's got a cast going up to her knee, so we've been busy with that. Miguel's been working, and it's been a busy time. We're busy men.
Yeah,
so we got to hop on here late at night and record. And this is when we have our dates and we drink beer together over Zoom.
We're pretty much doing like a COVID date right now.
We are.
You know, I don't know if any of you guys ever had like a. What's it called? Like a COVID date where they like Zoom at each other or FaceTime each other.
Yeah,
those used to be interesting.
You got your glass of wine and your fucking like lean cuisine dinner.
yeah. Oh god, those are the best.
Dates and job interviews are staying that way now. Job interviews are just gonna be over Zoom now. Like that's like the world we live in. I'm telling you.
Well, that's good. They can't see the sweat. They can't see the sweat between my ears whenever I do an interview.
It's crazy, man. COVID changed everything.
We'll be all right.
We will be all right. Hopefully, we'll have some commentaries going pretty soon. I know that's something we did a few commentaries a few months ago, but that's something I want to hop back into. And we'll get some movies. I actually just put a poll out on Twitter and on Instagram. So if you don't follow us on Twitter and Instagram, shameless plug, @WeTalkTheMovies, follow us, do that poll. I think the options I gave were commentaries for the Jurassic Park franchise, Friday the 13th, which we talked about a while ago, Halloween. What was the fourth one I put? Do you remember?
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes, Godzilla vs. Kong, and King Kong 05 and Godzilla 98. So,
which, by the way, guys,
those would be fun.
Big news for you guys, for Godzilla fans, because Godzilla vs. Kong just is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Cue the celebration, but
pop that champagne.
Pop that champagne.
Hit somebody in the eyeball.
Because trust me, I don't think I've ever seen a Godzilla movie get certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I've either seen it in like Probably the 50s or the 40s.
You're telling me Godzilla 98 didn't get.
Boy, that was universally hated.
I know it was. I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's pretty cool that the fact that it's nice to see a Godzilla movie finally get recognized for what it is. I'm not saying it's like a fucking Critics' Choice Award, but for what it is, pretty
Yeah.
solid movie.
Would you
So.
say Godzilla 98 is the worst of the franchise? I know it was a reboot, so it's not directly tied in with like what came after or what came before
No,
or what came after, but it's not the worst.
no, Son of Godzilla sucked.
To be fair, Godzilla 1998 is a good movie. It's just not a good Godzilla
Godzilla
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're talking
I
Godzilla movies, it's not that great. But if you take it for what it is, I actually love the hell out of that movie. It's a good
if
movie.
you
I
if
dig
they
it.
literally would have said anything other than just Godzilla, it would have been alright.
Giant
I'm not
lizard.
gonna lie. Giant lizard. Yeah. What like that movie? What, Ape versus Giant Lizard?
Ape versus monster. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that
Yeah.
CGI is trash.
Well, that's B
I've
movie.
never seen.
They
It's a
probably had a
what?
budget of like $8.
They use the same graphics we fucking use. Get the fuck out of here.
But so yeah, so hopefully we'll get into some commentaries pretty soon. But let's talk some movie news. A couple of stories. We don't have a huge show, not a whole lot going on at the moment. But there are a few things that are pretty sweet and that there's a lot of conversation and buzz surrounding. I think we're gonna save the Marvel news for last. Let's save Marvel for last, if that's cool with you. Where you want to head? Where you want to head? We got some Rocky news. We got some Warner Brothers / DC news that kind of ties together a little bit. And then there's a couple other things thrown in there too.
Let's tie some things up.
What?
I said let's tie some things up. What was the one that you said that ties together?
Oh, the DC and Warner Brothers talking about that. So there's just a few stories coming out of the DC universe to discuss tonight. And the interesting thing is that, of course, surprise, surprise, they both question where the hell the DCEU is going, and if Warner Brothers really knows what's best for the franchise, which we've talked about that ad nauseum. I mean, like, we've talked to that to death. First of all, Zack Snyder revealed another big dispute between himself and Warner Brothers over the Snyder Cut, and for me, I feel like it's revealing of how close Warner Brothers came to pulling the plug on the Snyder Cut in general, and their struggle for just like complete and absolute power when it comes to DC films. So originally, Zack Snyder wrote the cameo. If you think back to the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Bruce Wayne wakes up from his dream. Of course, we get like the awesome apocalypse sequence where Superman is the villain after Lois Lane dies. We had the awesome Joker cameo and all that shit. And then, of course, when Bruce Wayne wakes up, Martian Manhunter is there, and him and Bruce kind of have a conversation about the fight that's coming and the big war against Darkseid. Well, originally Zack Snyder wrote that for Jon Stewart's Green Lantern. So it was not going to be Martian Manhunter had nothing to do with the movie at all. It was originally supposed to be Green Lantern that came and talked to Bruce. Warner Brothers said, no, we're going to wait to introduce Jon Stewart's Green Lantern for the Green Lantern Corps movie.
I would have liked Jon Stewart.
I know, me too. And here's the thing, Zack Snyder had this day. He said, when we had this fight, I was like, guys, I don't understand. We have this whole thing of the multiverse. You have this whole, like, universe. Who cares? I just think the right end of this movie is Jon Stewart. That's the correct ending to happen. By the way, I don't want to take anything away from Harry and away from Martian Manhunter, of course, talking about the guy who played him, because it's cool. Seeing him early and then seeing him at the end, it's cool. It kind of completes his story. But it was always my intent to have Jon Stewart meet Batman. Here's the thing. Why the hell did Warner Brothers even care what Zack did with the Snyder Cut? Because they've made it perfectly clear it's not like the Snyder Cut has anything to do with the DCEU moving forward. It's not like it's not like it changes what they're going to do, adding him in. Just fucking let him do it. You're already reusing Wonder Woman. You're reusing Aquaman. You're reusing Batfleck in the Flash movie. Like, what would be the problem with reusing Jon Stewart's Green Lantern? Even if the Snyder Cut's not canon, like it, I don't know. It makes sense that John Stewart's Green Lantern would come down and talk to him because you got to think if he was going to set up this whole war with Darkseid, you would have the Justice League, the Atlanteans, the Amazonians, the Green Lantern Corps, like all of them would have to like join in to fight Darkseid. So I don't really get why Warner Brothers even cared in the first place if he did that or not.
Not gonna lie, that's such a power move for Warner Bros. But I mean, I'm not gonna talk about Warner Bros. At nauseum right now. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, if I had to choose between Martian Manhunter and the Green Lantern or John Stewart's Green Lantern, I would have chose John Stewart's, man, because the Green Martian Manhunter would have been cool to introduce, say, like another Justice League movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the first time we saw Martian Manhunter, like towards the beginning of the film, I was like, "Who the hell is that?"
This
Like, I
bitch,
didn't,
this
I
this
didn't.
bitch thought it was a scroll.
No, but I didn't know.
He thought it was a scroll. Get the fuck
Disney's
out of
really
here.
going wild with this multiverse. No, but I mean, I didn't even know who the hell it was. Uh, so I mean, it's
Well, I mean,
cool, I
I
guess,
knew.
but like,
Yeah, I got you. I mean, yeah, it's cool. Look, seeing Martian Manhunter live action in a Justice League movie was pretty dope. I'm
right?
not gonna take away from that. But in regards to as a story, as in general, I
It
mean, John
wasn't seeing
Stewart,
Green Lantern though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, okay. Let me be honest. How can I put this in perspective? It'd have been cool to see John Stewart's Green Lantern and then introduce the Lantern Corps because I think it would have been a good way of introducing them because a lot of people would have want to know who he was, which would have been a good way to set up that movie. Martian Manhunter, he's the only one of his kind. You kind of can't
Yeah,
pick a movie out of that
right,
other
right.
than an origin stories, which I mean, I'm not gonna lie, people really don't care.
Yeah,
But so which I mean, that's why I think John Stewart's Green Lantern would have been dope. But that kind of confuses me because it's like I don't know. I'd much rather see Hal Jordan's Green Lantern.
I know.
If I wanted to see
I
if
agree.
I want to see original Justice League, it would have been Hal Jordan. But
Yeah,
I understand since considering like um this Justice League is like a little similar to the New 52, which you guys haven't seen the New 52 series of the Justice League. I mean, you're missing out. Those are by far top tier DC stories right there.
hmm
And John Stewart's Green Lantern was in it. Also, Hal Jordan was too. Yes, and I think it was Justice League War. He was in it, and
yeah.
he was a great comedic.
Well, and I believe I remember reading a while back that Zack Snyder originally thought about tying in Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie with the Snyder Cut, which I mean, like, I adore Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, I have all respect for the people who made that movie, but the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie was garbage. I mean, like,
Yes, it
hot,
was fine.
steaming garbage. I didn't like it at all. Like, there was nothing about that movie that I liked.
It was fine. I mean,
But
I'm not gonna say much. It was good for what Ryan Reynolds did at the time.
yeah, I mean,
You know
I
what I mean?
agree with you in if you're gonna have a Green Lantern in there, I would like for it to be Hal Jordan. But I get what he was trying to do with the John Stewart Green Lantern. The thing that kind of gets me though is, and the thing that kind of ties into our next story here is, Zack said to me it wasn't worth doing it to Wayne, like blowing up the whole movie because it was that close over it, and then have everyone else be like, or have Wayne feel like, oh shit, I canceled the whole movie because Snyder wouldn't budge, and I just felt like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna let it go, and Wayne was great in the thing. Talking about
Mhm.
Wayne who played Martian Manhunter. I get it, but here's the thing: is Warner Brothers was that close over such a small thing. Again, why did that even matter? What did it really matter if he would have replaced Martian Manhunter's character with Green Lantern? Like,
Mm.
I don't think that that's a big enough deal for them to pull the plug, for them to have almost pulled the plug on the Snyder cut for. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't, I don't get why. I don't know. I just don't understand why that was a big deal in the first place and why they were like standing so firm in that. And again, I feel like at this point we're like broken records with the whole Warner Brothers and DC thing. You mean like they don't get me wrong, they have every right to do whatever the hell they want to do. But I just disagree with like so many of the creative choices that they've made. And it's not personal. Like, and we've said that a million times on the show. Like, it's not personal. I don't. It's nothing against Warner Brothers. We love a whole lot of what Warner Brothers does. I just don't understand why. It just feels like they're with DC especially. They're just like throwing stuff at the wall. Like sure, why not? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like again, it's like you get a winning lottery ticket and you throw it away for a scratch off. Like I'm gonna see if we can win big with this scratch off, and I'm like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like why would you do that? That's how I feel with their creative decisions with the DCEU. So I don't know. It's weird to think that the Snyder Cut almost fell victim to a character
another
that
one.
didn't even have a big role in the movie. Like
I
it
bet
was
said like the Snyder Code is getting close to being like falling victim to another one of Warner Bros. Little antics of like controlling everything.
yeah.
And honestly, I mean, look, Martian Manhunter, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Only because I wasn't really concerned with like the Easter eggs and like hidden stuff about the Snyder Cut because I knew it wasn't gonna be canon. I knew that for a fact. It was just mainly I knew the Snyder Cut was just gonna be all fan service, and that's what it was. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. I thought it was
Yeah,
great, but
absolutely.
also I knew nothing was gonna come from it unless we end up pulling some more shit out of our ass,
Yeah.
and then we get it. But right now, I don't think we are. So it makes sense.
I don't know. But, to snowball off of the Zack Snyder topic, um, you know, again, we've talked about Warner Media a lot, and this wasn't even really intentional. I feel like it's become like a staple in our shows. And again, that was never our intention, but there's just been a lot that's happened between the DC universe, between their merger and all of the different deals they've made with AT&T and Discovery. I mean, it's just there's been a lot happening with that studio right now and that company. Um,
Mhm.
and they're in a crucial place right now. Have you followed any of the stuff like going on with them like recently?
With Warner Bros.
Yeah, and with Warner Media in general.
No.
So it's a lot. Obviously, we talked about this a few weeks ago. They made the deal to merge with Discovery. So Warner Media and Discovery are merging into a bigger company. As of right now, nothing is changing. Everything on the Warner Media side of things is staying the same with HBO Max. HBO Max is still going to get its like cheaper version, like ad-based version. Um, and then Discovery Plus, all of that stuff is still going to stay the same. We have a whole video about that on our YouTube channel, by the way. It's like a 35-minute video.
Check us out.
Yes, check that out. But apparently, that's going to take a year or two to complete to actually like merge with Discovery. It's going to take a year or two. And what that is actually going to look like is still very much up in the air. Is HBO Max going to merge with Discovery Max or Discovery Max, Discovery Plus, like to make one big streaming service? Like, what's going to change? What's going to absorb what from each company? Who the hell knows? And then there's also rumors that Jason Kilar, who is the Warner Media CEO, and Ann Sarnoff, who is the CEO of Warner Media Pictures, there's rumors of them leaving. That Jason Kilar has been a big one. That there's a rumor that he is gonna finish this deal and he is out. He's gone. He got a lot of flack. I believe he is the guy that made the decision to release all of their films on HBO Max and theatrically like simultaneously, and he got a lot of flack for that. Like studios did not like that. Talent directors and writers and they did not like that at all. And then Aaron Sarnoff kind of shocked me. And I mean, of course, they haven't officially said they're leaving, but there's a lot of speculation right now that they're not going to stick around. You are scaring the fuck out of me right now with your eyes. Do you see what's going on with your eyes?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Let's see. Look at that shit.
I'm just saying, you look possessed. Like I
It's
see like every once in a while I look at it and I'm like, ugh. It's weird looking.
I caught onto it.
Yeah, I didn't know you were doing it on purpose.
I was doing
Um,
wholeheartedly on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole Warner Media's all those execs leaving, golly, I at first I was whenever you said that, whenever I like heard about that, and I was like, I didn't keep up with it. I just thought it was because of the whole Zack Snyder thing. I thought people were getting too much flack for it.
No.
But if it was about this whole like doing theatrical cuts and then what's it called? Streaming, like releasing on streaming and then the actual cuts of it, like I'm surprised by that because I thought you remember we talked about one of our episodes about like how we thought that was gonna be the norm. But it doesn't sound like it, does it?
Well, I think you have two different sides. You have writers and directors and well, not even studios. You have the talent themselves, and they want theatrical releases because they're the artists. Like they want their art on the big screen in a movie theater because that's traditional. That's what you do. You have the studios, and the big corporations are saying, how can we get the most money out of this? So they're trying to pull HBO Max people and theatrical people, but I don't think it really worked. And of course, a lot of that has to do with COVID. But Jason Kilar like fiercely defended his decision to do that simultaneous release.
Mm-hmm.
And it right now it seems very uncertain. Like the future of Warner Media and the future of Warner Brothers seems really, really, really uncertain. And again, like I said with DC Films, it feels like they're just throwing stuff to a wall and seeing what sticks. And that right there is the thing that separates them from Disney. Say what you will about Walt Disney Pictures and the Walt Disney Company in general, they are 10 steps ahead of their next move. Always. Like Disney always has a plan. Like they
Mm-hmm.
have a plan moving forward. And I
Yep.
feel like, especially with the DC universe, Warner Brothers does not have a plan moving forward. Like I feel like they're just doing it as they go. And I don't know. I just don't. I,
They're not committed. Okay, they're not committed at all because I swear, okay, look, they literally base it off every single movie that they film. If the movie does well, okay, cool, we'll move on with the thing. But if one of the movies fails, they're like, oh shit, we got to go back to the chalkboard
But are they
and
doing
redo it
that
all.
though? Is
It
that why they
sounds
won't
like it.
release the Snyder Cut numbers?
It
Because the
sounds like
Snyder
it.
Cut made bank and it kicked ass, but they're still head over heels not going over for the Snyder Cut. Like they are not doing
That's
the Snyder Cut route.
that's what it. I mean, that's what kind of what it sounds like. It sounds like they like base their plan off every other movie, and like that's the difference. Because look, I mean, Marvel, they had some shit. They had some like pretty like par level movies like Thor: The Dark World.
Thor: The Dark World. That's what I was
Yeah,
about to say.
but guess what? They didn't change their entire plan
Right.
based off that movie. They just said, okay, yeah, I mean, the story didn't kick off all that well, but guess what? It's like it connects, so you're
Iron
gonna
Man
have to
3.
do it. Fuck off. Iron Man 3 was good, and you guys know
Iron
it.
Man 3 was good. It was just
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole 10 rings and the thing with what's his name?
Okay, yeah, that was
The
a shit
fake
plan.
out thing with the Mandarin was like,
But
what?
as you could see, they had a plan because you have uh I forgot the dude's name. I forgot the name of the movie. Lord help me right now. Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi Maka.
Shang-Chi. I think it's.
I don't
Wait,
know.
I'm
I
saying
always
the
screw it
Marvel.
up. I think Kevin Feige said Shang-Chi. I always screw it up.
Shang-Chi. Okay, I got you.
I
I
don't know
keep
why I
thinking
screw it
of
up, but I do.
I keep thinking of Shang Tsung, which yeah, that's a Mortal Kombat reference. But yeah, see, you see how like that, like I know a lot of people are disappointed with that, but that's obviously because the Mandalorian and the Ten Rings weren't going to show up till now. You know
The
what I mean? Like they
Mandalorian.
had.
Did you just say the Mandalorian?
I said the Mandalorian, didn't I? Jesus Christ, what's in that thing? The Mandarin.
I was like, the Mandalorian showing up? What?
No.
Disney's really taking the multiverse to a new level, man. Like we're crossing like IPs and we're making it weird.
Ugh. But you guys know what I mean. They had a plan.
Yes, I do know what you mean. But yeah, Disney always has a plan, man. Like they are always just 10 steps ahead of their next move. So how does all of this play into the DCEU? Well, the Los Angeles Times, they published a list of titles that are going to be HBO Max exclusives. and Blue Beetle was on the list of HBO Max exclusives. Why? Like, I don't. Why? Again, let's look at this. Like, let's look at this logically. The DC Films release slate, you have Suicide Squad, which comes out in a couple of months. Black Adam, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom come out in 2022. You have Shazam: Fury of the Gods in 2023, and then let me click on this real quick. Let me pull up their release slate. I mean, you have the Amazons, which is that even going to be a movie? It will be a film. Batgirl is going to be an HBO Max exclusive. You have Blue Beetle, which we now know is going to be an HBO Max exclusive. They've announced a Deadshot movie, but they announced that in 2016. So I mean, like,
yeah, I don't know if Will Smith is going to.
Is that really going to happen? They've said Green Lantern Corps is going to happen, but again, we haven't heard anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a couple of different projects announced, but again, like, is it anything really that special? Like, I'm sorry, but it's not Batman. It's not Superman. It's not like
Well,
your
I mean,
big. It's not your big money stuff, which is why
well, I
I
mean,
just don't understand.
Disney did a decent job with the TV shows.
Yeah, but like,
I'm not gonna lie. When
I don't know.
those lineups came out, I could give less of a fuck about WandaVision, about Falcon and Winter Soldier, or the Loki show for that matter. Until the rest of the movies came out, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and but I think it's still different though, because you got to think Marvel had these characters established. Like, they had their universe established. There weren't really, I mean, yes, you had Thor the Dark World, you had Iron Man 3, you had a couple of movies that were like, they're not great, but they're not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, the universe that they were building and the world that they were building was like, it was off the charts. It was great. The DCEU is not anything like crazy good. The Snyder Cut was the best thing that they've ever done, and they're not using it. So, like, I mean, what if, looking at that lineup, Blue Beetle seems like it's going to be one of their bigger projects, which is why the hell would you put that on HBO Max and not throw that in a movie theater? And again, it's still early. I know it's not even really in development yet. So I guess that could change, and they could give it another simultaneous HBO Max theatrical release. But why would you do that when you've received so much flack for that all of this year?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I just, again, it just seems like, who decided that? Like, I just don't understand. Again, Blue Beetle, like, I know Blue Beetle's not, I know nothing about the character. Like, I really don't.
I just say if they're gonna do the Blue Beetle, I hope they at least do Jaime Reyes, who is I think the most recent person to don the Blue Beetle storyline, and I liked his story overall. I mean, also like in regards to like Blue Beetles, I liked him in Injustice. The storyline for Injustice, which also some people disagree with me, I consider Injustice one of the top DC storylines.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
hands down.
And whenever in the game when Blue Beetle Jaime was in there, I mean, I loved him in it. Also, he's in I think he's had a TV show too as well, a cartoon, if I'm not mistaken. And I love Blue Beetle. I think it's a cool character. And it could be one of their top or what's it called? One of their most perspective projects out there.
Well, sure. I know that there's a lot of people that were super stoked when they announced Blue Beetle. And I mean, again, for me, I don't really know as much about the character itself, so it doesn't hold the same like weight for me as it does others. But I know that a lot of people are excited, and I know that moving forward and the release slate that you have announced, it sounds like it could be one of the bigger titles in your in your arsenal. So why would you choose to have that on HBO Max? I don't get it. I don't understand. Like unless they're really trying to keep pushing HBO Max and get more subscribers, but like I'm sorry, but if that's their strategy, I think I don't know how do I even put it. I think a lot of people subscribe to HBO Max for the Snyder Cut. I think that was successful enough that they got a lot of subscriptions. You are
Hmm.
not going to have millions of people subscribing to HBO Max just so that they can see Blue Beetle.
Yep.
Like you're not. Like I wouldn't do. I mean, I have HBO Max, but I wouldn't subscribe to it for Blue Beetle. Like that's not. I don't know. I wouldn't. So I don't know. I just that's kind of the whole question of this segment here. Is I'm beginning to question their strategy and where Warner Brothers and Warner Media is moving forward,
Yeah.
especially with the DCEU. I'm hiccuping and I don't know why. Sorry.
Yeah. It's
But
because my boy over here
that's the
drinking
big
an
question.
IPA. Yeah,
A
I
big
agree.
IPA.
It'll be definitely one thing that we're gonna be like catching up with more throughout throughout this year. Is gonna be Warner Bros.'s goal or plan with their whole DC universe,
Yeah.
and it'll definitely be something I'll have to keep track of because honestly, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I just
It's
don't
on because honestly, like I've seen no like updates. I've seen no like legitimate plans whatsoever. I just keep hearing people being upset with their decisions.
well, and
Like,
honestly, that's a really good way of putting it. Again, it's nothing personal against Warner Brothers at all, or against Warner Media, or against Ann Sarnoff, or against anybody. Like, it's not. I don't. It's not against them personally. I just don't. I don't understand. If you are really trying to compete with Marvel, which you have to. I get that, but if you're trying to compete with them, why would you keep making these like asinine decisions that just don't make any sense at all? Like it just seems again like they're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So
I agree.
that's where we'll leave it. What do you guys think about the future of the DCEU? What do you think about the future of Warner Media? Where do you think this merger with Discovery should go? Just tell us what you think if you're watching on YouTube. Please leave us a comment and let us know. Because it's interesting and there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot to break down and this is going to be an ongoing thing for the next few years to see where exactly this is taken and what direction they choose to move in with their release slate, with their streaming services, with their projects, their theatrical projects. I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot to break down. So, let's move on here. Let's talk Rocky if we can,
Hell
because
yeah.
I'm pretty hyped for this, man. Rocky has always been a big franchise for me. My dad is a huge Rocky fan. Um, I grew up watching the Rocky movies because my dad always had it on. He's got the T-shirts. My brother has got the big. He's got in his room. He's got a big mural of Rocky standing in Philly with his arm up, and he's got the whole it's not about how hard you can get hit, but about, whatever his whole speech is when he's talking to his son in Rocky Balboa. Rocky's been a huge part of my movie life. And a week ago, Sly teased the new cut of Rocky 4, which we were going to get. We've known we were going to get for a long time. But now the director's cut of Rocky 4 has an official release date. It is dropping November 11th of this year in the movie theaters. We will actually go get to see a Rocky movie in theaters.
Oh shit, that's
And
true.
I'm hype about it.
I wonder what the director's cut is gonna look like.
Well, from what I understand, I don't know how long it's going to be, but apparently there is a lot of new footage. Like, I don't know if it's Snyder cut long, but it's like it's I it's a lot from what I understand.
See, here's the difference with the Snyder cut and this Rocky Balboa, this Rocky 4 cut. That movie is well aged. So like any film that's going to be added is going to be like pre-recorded shit, and
Yeah.
it's going to be weird to seeing how they're able to edit that as compared to like the Snyder cut, because obviously he did reshoots. Obviously he did some reshoots here and there. So any type of add-on to the movie could blend in, but like I don't know, it'd be interesting because
Ivan Drago disagrees.
oh God, he didn't say it.
If he dies, he dies.
Thank God you said that, because I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot what Rocky 4 was about.
Yeah, that was
For like a
Drago,
hot
man. That's
second.
when Apollo died.
Yeah.
That was the robot when he bought Paulie the robot.
Oh yeah, that's how it got.
Which
it got
apparently,
real...
so apparently in this movie they're taking out the robot thing. I
Oh
guess.
my God,
Yeah.
was that probably wasn't that? That was probably like something the studio wanted to add, and Rocky was like,
Well, I remember Sly said in an interview or something, he was like, I don't know why the fuck I ever threw in that robot. That was the dumbest idea I've ever had in my life. Like when he bought Polly the robot, whatever. So that's gonna be taken out. The other thing, which I think is kind of interesting, is apparently there is a longer, more drug out death scene for Apollo. Which the fact that we have
You mean to tell me I'm about to get like 5 more minutes of seeing Apollo Creed get his shit rocked?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
I don't know if
I guess it'll
that.
be more of an extended sadder death scene for Apollo.
What is
Again,
it gonna be?
If he
Is
dies.
it
It always
gonna be
freaked me
like-
out how he breathes, because like what's his name? God, what's his name? Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren,
like
yeah.
every time you see Dolph Lundgren, he's like
Honestly, man, I swear, if I'm gonna see like 5 more minutes of just Rocky like this, while seeing Apollo Creed getting his shit rocked, I'm gonna be mad. It's gonna like zoom into his face of Rocky like this. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Wait, he might. Oh wait, no, he's not. No, he's not. Okay, now I swear, if I get like 5 more minutes of that, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Dude, it's gonna
I'm
be like a
walk out
full length
creative.
fight. It's gonna be like watching a fight on ESPN. Like it's gonna be legit like watching a boxing match.
It'll still be better than the Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fight. Fucking burn.
But yeah, so I'm hype about this. I've always been a big Rocky fan. I think this is gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be cool to go see a Rocky movie in theaters, even if I've seen it a million times already. Which I say you've seen it a million times already, but it's going to be a different experience because it's got never before seen footage in it. So originally, Sly wanted to release this last year for the 35th anniversary of Rocky 4.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, COVID happened, which is like the theme of life. COVID happened, and that didn't happen. But we are getting a release this year. It'll be widescreen theatrical size, and the cut of the movie is going to be longer. It'll be in 4K, which is going to be dope. It's going to be like legit. It's going to look phenomenal. I wanted to show you this. Let me pull up the poster here. Give me a second.
We're gonna see a poster.
Guys,
we're gonna see a poster. We're gonna see a poster.
Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. What? What are you laughing at? What the hell are you laughing at, Miguel?
Why that picture? Why are you showing the picture of fucking Sly just looking like he's taking it?
He does look like he's getting his shit rocked right now. But it's a dope
My
poster,
God.
dude. That's a poster I would hang in the cave. Like, I'm telling you.
He looks Rocky Balboa right there. Looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy running out of the house with the chainsaw.
Bro, he's leaning on the side like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably
on the side.
That's probably the punch that like literally like sat him in that shower crying his eyes out in Rocky 5.
Right.
Remember that?
And Rocky Balboa, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was Rocky 5, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because there was Rocky 5 after Rocky 4. Whenever like he was training the kid. You remember that movie?
What?
Yeah, it was Rocky Five. Whenever Rocky was training this new up and comer, and then he like
The-
betrays him, and they have a street fight. Boy, you are Italian, and you don't know about this movie?
I do. I just
Totally forgot. Yeah, don't worry. A lot of people did.
holy crap. I guess I need to rewatch that.
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember 5 at all.
Yeah, it was the guy that he was
The
training
hell
looks
is
like
this?
the guy that he was training. I forgot what his name was, but he looks like the fat kid from the Goonies. Yeah,
Him?
that dude. He looks like the fat kid from the Goonies that literally glowed up.
I need to rewatch Rocky 5 then. I only remember like 1 through 4 and Rocky Balboa and the Creed series.
Yeah, man. That's what
uh,
I don't know. Rocky Five was just so weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Rocky Five. I mean,
I don't
okay, I'm
know.
sure I'm sure someone's gonna mention it that like Rocky Five was like a most notable one. It showed truly like what boxing did to Rocky. But honestly, man, it could have been left out
That's
because
fair.
I mean, where and like it because like with Creed 1 and 2, where'd that kid go? What happened to him? What happened to that kid? Like, let's be honest,
Yeah.
because I ain't heard nothing from that kid since that street fight. This is literally like I'm not gonna lie. I'll say it. There is a scene where like him and the kid were arguing and like the manager was like I forgot what his name was. It's like this kid doesn't fight in the bar. He fights in the ring. And then Rocky Balboa looks at him. He's like, my ring's outside. I was like, that's the most Rocky shit I ever heard in my fucking life. I was
I
like, are
need to,
you
dude.
serious?
I don't know why I don't remember Rocky 5 as much.
Yeah,
I
man.
guess I need to I like I could quote parts of like 1 through 4, but I don't know why I don't remember 5. I guess that's not one of the better ones. I don't know.
It was the most tacky shit ever. Every
I don't know.
single line.
See, people hate
Give
on
me,
Rocky
give me some
Balboa.
hate. I don't care. Rocky 5 was by far the most tacky shit ever.
People hate on Rocky Balboa. I dig the shit out of Rocky Balboa. I love that movie.
I take Rocky Balboa over Rocky 5. And you know what's hilarious? That was Rocky Balboa in like its absolute prime. I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky 5 was like whenever he was like peak like physical traits and all that.
Peak
And
Rocky. Peak it.
was-
He hit
he was-
peak Italian in that
he was
moment. Like,
peak Italian stallion. And I shit you not. It was just the most tacky shit ever.
yeah.
And so yeah, that I'm not surprised that you didn't know about that movie or you forgot about it.
Well, I don't know. I just don't. I don't remember like. I don't know. I don't remember watching it. Like I don't remember like what happens as much as I remember the others. So
Well, I mean, in that movie, in like Rocky Five, they talked about like they brought up like what Drago did to Rocky. Like it really
Yeah.
it said the doctor lady said, listen, if you take one more punch, you're gonna go brain shit. Your brain's gonna go to fucking mush.
well, I mean, like,
So that's why he retired.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Rocky 4, dude. Rocky 4 is great. Like, I'm glad we're getting a
It was-
director's cut of that movie because, like, it may be my favorite one in the whole franchise. Like, it's the most emotional. It's got the most, like, Drago's the best villain, even with Mr. T. Like, I don't. Was that 2 or 3?
Those three. Wow, man, I know
Was it
I know
3?
these movies more than you right now. How does that make you feel? How does it feel that
I'm Italian.
Spanish
I
a
don't-
Spanish person knows more about it than an Italian?
I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
Mr. T, I pity the fool. What you doing up there? Well, come down here, Rocky. Come down here. What you doing up there? What you doing up there? Come down
That
here.
was-
Fight me. Fight me. Fight me.
That was the one. That was like Rocky 3 was the one where like Sylvester Stallone got like really what's it called? He got more he got more attitude. He was like, "You ain't bad. You ain't bad. You ain't
Yeah.
nothing."
When
Come
they're,
on, give me
dude,
that
I
shot.
love
You ain't bad. You ain't bad. I was like, "Good God, Rocky, calm down."
when he's up there and they unveil like the Rocky statue and whatever and shit in Philadelphia, and Mr. T shows up and he looks at Adrian and he's like, "Hey, you fine? Why'd you come down here with me? Come home with me. I'll show you a real man." And Rocky's like, that whole scene because Rocky's like, You're talking to my wife. Like,
Talk to my
and him
wife.
and Mr. I don't know. It's just funny.
It was by far the like Rocky
I'll show
3
you a
like
real man.
Rocky 3 was like it gave you some reality checks right there because when Mickey literally straight up told Rocky, he was like, it was all fixed, and Rocky was like, you mean I'm not the shit? I'm like, Mickey was like, no, you ain't, man. You almost got your ass kicked by Apollo. So obviously I had to fix some of the fights. I was like, yo, it's fucking awful.
Dude, I
So
love Mick, man.
yeah,
Dude,
Mick was
that is
great.
that is easily one of the best franchises of all time. Like it is. So I'm super hyped to get a director's cut of this. We are definitely gonna have to take my dad to go see that because again, my dad is a huge Rocky fan, huge Sly fan, and he'll be super down to go see that in the theater. So that's gonna be a fun one.
When's it
So
come out? Does it come out in the summer?
November 11th.
Okay, so it's gonna be cold. So your dad can't pull out the Rocky Balboa shorts.
No, but he'll have his leather
Thank God.
jacket on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you want to talk some Italian shit? My dad has a leather jacket.
That's not Italian. That's everybody. Everybody has a leather jacket. I've seen so many people in college. They like in the fall, leather jackets are like the thing in the fall. And you know what's fucking worse is that people that wear those leather jackets, it doesn't fit them. They're either really tight or they're just really baggy. So they literally look like a cardboard box walking around like this.
I'm,
Walking around like
dude,
this.
I'm
It
not-
is the most pathetic shit I've seen in my life. Like if you're gonna buy a jacket that actually fits. Don't wear something bulky where like all I see is your stiff arms like this walking around. For God's sakes, leather jackets, they gotta fit you.
I'm
or else
not
they
gonna
look
lie,
dumb as
it's
hell.
too. I've worn his a few times. It's too big for me. Like
Exactly.
it's too. Which you guys never seen my
Yeah,
dad, but my
look,
dad
guys,
is ripped. I
his
mean, like
dad is he's pretty like big.
my dad's pretty
And
bulky, and
mhm.
he's a bulky Italian guy, and
Yep.
I mean that jacket it doesn't fit me the way it fits him, but so yeah, it's I don't know, perks of being Italian, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
I'm sure it'll be exciting for your dad to see that. I'm sure
it
he'll feel
will.
like a kid.
I definitely want to take him to go see that. Let's talk some horror news before we get into our MCU talk of the night because
Okay.
did you see a
What?
mouse? You good? What was that?
We're talking horror, and that's why I decided to stream.
All
Let
right.
me get my
Well,
horror face on.
I'll tell you what. This first story is because if y'all haven't seen yet, Rob Zombie is directing the reboot of The Munsters.
The Monsters?
Yeah, The Munsters.
The fuck is the Monsters? I've never seen the Monsters.
Are you kidding me? It's like the Addams Family. It's the old it's an old TV show. Let's let me what the hell?
An American sitcom?
Let me get out of this. Yeah, you look up The Munsters. I'm about to pull up this article right quick. Let me
Is he
let
got
me get this
Frankenstein
article.
in there? Is this the one?
So this is,
Is this the fucking?
they're the
Oh
Munsters.
my god!
They're
Is
the
this-
Munsters right there. That's the original series.
I think I've seen a scene like on Instagram where it's like Frankenstein is like, now remember, Charlie, people like it's not what people think, it's about how you feel. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yep, this is the Munsters.
Yo, this shit looks kid as fuck. It looks
Well,
kid friendly as hell.
it's a family friendly show. It really is.
And Rob Zombie is
And the fact that
directing
Rob Zombie is directing it scares the holy shit out of me because, again, officially confirmed by Rob Zombie himself, the next movie that'll be released with the directed by Rob Zombie tag is a brand new take on the classic sitcom The Munsters, which apparently Rob Zombie is a massive fan of. He has been all his life. And he wrote on Instagram, he posted a picture of, let me see if it's on here. There it is. He posted on his official Instagram, Boils and ghouls, the rumors are true. My next film project will be the one I've been chasing for 20 years, The Munsters. Stay tuned for exciting details as things progress. And there's the official Munsters logo.
the thing he's been chasing for 20 years. Damn,
I don't know. Here's strike one. Here's strike one.
Strike one. Sherry Moon Zombie.
She is playing Lily Munster. Now,
Okay. Look, guys, I'm only
Jeff,
basing
I
Rob Zombie
think.
off of like Rob Zombie H2 and or whatever the fuck Brad keeps calling it. And yeah, seeing how those movies were, and also The Devil's Rejects too. I don't know. His resume is very like centered around like white trash kind of horror. So the fact that I'm gonna see a white trash Frankenstein actually makes me a little bit interested in the movie.
Well, so okay,
If
so
I don't
again,
see Frankenstein wearing a wife beater, lugging around on the couch,
with a beard,
I'm gonna consider this movie a failure.
Well, okay, so again, this bloody disgusting article talks about Rob Zombie's a huge Monsters fan, um, and the original series is on Peacock if you ever want to watch it. I looked it up on YouTube a little bit too. There's a couple episodes on YouTube, but Sherry Moon Zombie, because of course in every Rob Zombie movie his wife has to be the star, and Jeff Daniel Phillips, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jeff Daniel Phillips played the guy that Michael smashes his face in and rocks his shit in H2 outside of the strip club at the garbage can. I believe that's the same person. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But again, I like cool. I'm not gonna count him out because I don't hate Rob Zombie. Like I really don't. I just don't understand. I just don't get why.
I just
why
know
does
when and where you should stay in your lane.
why does every single movie he's in like, bitch, I'ma come over there and slide it in your mouth? Like why? Why does every movie have to be like a white trash nasty, like make you feel like you need to go shower and then go sit in church with a stack of Bibles and some holy water for 6 hours? Like what is the Munsters gonna be like that? Like are we gonna like it's like the Addams Family. Like I think of the Munsters and the Addams Family in the same kind of space.
I hope
Like
so.
are is are they gonna be alcoholics? Are they gonna beat each other? Are they gonna be like in some weird cult? Like what is he gonna
Let
Rob
me
Zombieify it?
let me
Or
say
is
this
it
right now.
gonna be
If I had to choose, between the Addams Family and versus Rob Zombie's The Munsters, I'm taking Rob Zombie's The Munsters wholeheartedly. That white trash element is gonna smack the Addams Family all across the fucking field. I don't even know their names, but count them.
I'm gonna be
Count 'em
straight
down.
up. Do you want to see this Rob Zombieified and like think 31, think House of a Thousand Corpses, think Rob Zombie's H2? Do you want to see it become the trailer park kind of thing, or do you want to see it like be? Do you want to see Rob Zombie step outside of his comfort zone and what he usually does, and do you want to see Rob Zombie do something like completely different? I don't know. Like I'm kind of curious to see because like this is like a
I'm curious.
family friendly fun series. Like this is not a horror franchise. It's like the Addams Family. It was a sitcom. It was a fun family friendly show. So if you're going to take a fun family friendly show and turn, I mean, if you look at Rob Zombie's movies, like you said, if you look at his filmography, it's everything but family friendly. Like if I like little kids would be scarred after watching one of his movies. Like, which I shouldn't say that because I watched his Halloween films when I saw both of them in the movie theater when I was in like middle school. So I mean, like, I don't know.
I just
I
can't
don't
wait
know.
to see. I just can't wait to see White Trash Frankenstein. That's all I gotta say.
I'm more intrigued than anything. Like I'm not. I think he's a really good. Like I think Rob Zombie does what he does really, really well, and we have multiple videos about this. We did an episode on Rob Zombie's Halloween films. We did commentaries for both of those films. We did a couple of different standalone videos talking about like how you could fix H2 and how you could do this. And I mean, just like we've talked about Rob Zombie quite a bit on the show. You might have to scroll back on our YouTube channel or on our Spotify a little bit, but it's there. Um, I'm more intrigued than anything else because like it ain't gonna
I
be
don't
fair.
know.
Like I don't know. I feel like I could. This is gonna go one of two ways. Either it is gonna be the most Rob Zombie, nasty, dirty, filthy movie ever made, or it is going to be completely opposite end of the spectrum, like family fun. He is gonna do something crazy. I feel like I don't know what studio owns the Munsters, but I feel like for them to have picked Rob Zombie to do this, I think they must what?
It's it's gonna be a fucking brawl between the studio and Rob Zombie.
Well, I feel like
Why?
they
What do you mean? What do you mean I can't make him do this in the fucking movie? What do you mean I can have Frankenstein snort coke on the table?
his
It's
daughter
what I
can't
do.
blow him on the couch. What are you talking about?
Jesus, he went far, but yeah,
Well,
it's gonna be a battle
I
between
don't
those
know.
two.
I'm very intrigued. I want to know.
I'm
I want to know.
speechless.
I
I'm
know. I
speechless.
just
That's all I can say.
I just want to know how it's going to be. I'm very intrigued, and I'm excited. I really do. I like Rob Zombie. I mean, shit.
I do too. I like him for what
I
he
have
does
his
best.
stuff. Like, I am a Rob Zombie fan.
I like him for what he does best. That's
He
pretty much what
does
it is.
exactly his space and what he does with his movies. He does it really, really well.
Hmm.
But when I saw that he was doing the Munsters, I was like,
It's ambitious. It's the
yes,
best way I can
yes,
say.
yes, yes. It's very ambitious.
It's
He
ambitious.
may have to step outside of his comfort zone a little bit. And you know what? Who knows? We may be kind of cracking jokes and being whatever. Um, I don't
It's
know.
gonna be a
It could
great
completely
Halloween film for
it
the
could
kids.
completely shock us and be like, wow, this is cool. Like he did a really good job with this. Like this is family fun. Like you could take your kids to see this and it'll be cool. I just looking at his other movies, man. Like looking at The Devil's Rejects or looking at like House of a Thousand Corpses or 31 or especially Halloween 2 because his Halloween 2 remake is whoo. I mean, it's something. Like I don't know.
I'm trying to look for reasons that
I
this could be a good idea, but it's hard to find it.
don't know. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, very intrigued.
So
That's the way we can say it.
I am extremely intrigued. But we also had a little bit more coming out of the horror community. So, Miguel, are you a fan of Elijah Wood? We're doing a complete 360 here from talking about Rob Zombie. Are you a fan of Elijah Wood?
Elijah Wood is the guy who,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah,
He's the kid in Lord of the Rings. He's done. I mean, he's done quite a few things too. He hasn't just done Lord of the Rings.
I know of him. I'm not saying
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of him.
I'm kind of the same way. I know of him. I think he's good. I mean, I don't I don't have any like to be completely honest. I don't really have a big opinion of him. Um, but I know that he's a big horror fan, and I know that a couple years ago, he said he was really interested in doing a reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh shit!
Uh, yeah, and
Was he in Nightmare of Elm Street?
what
Was he
was
in?
he in
Was
it?
he in it?
No, he wasn't in it, but he's a
Oh,
horror fan, and I think he's kind of starting to step into a writer director role a little bit more. And he said that that's a property that he is, very interested in possibly taking on, if that was even possible. Um, we know that the rights for an there's a law that's partially why Friday the 13th is caught up in court right now, that whole property, and we haven't had a Jason movie in God knows how long, well, since 2009, and who the hell knows when we're going to get one.
mm.
There was a law when a lot of these 80s horror films came out that said after 30 years, so obviously Wes Craven could have sold the rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street to who the hell ever, and he did. But after 30 years, the property reverts back to its previous owner. So Wes Craven could have sold the rights to X, and X could have sold the rights to B, and B could have sold the rights to Y. But after 30 years, it goes right back to Wes Craven. And of course, Wes Craven is gone, but the rights for A Nightmare on Elm Street have reverted back to his estate. It was reported a while back that pre-COVID that they were looking for that Wes Craven's estate was, they were looking for scripts. They were looking for a way to reboot A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Elijah Wood was interested. And I just kind of wanted to bring this up because it kind of begs the question of, if they were going to do a reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street, how would you want it done? And I kind of have my thoughts on that. Elijah
Would it
Wood
be
said
anywhere near the most recent reboot that they did?
the most recent reboot is it's fine. That's about it.
It's fine.
Have you seen the reboot? The most recent one?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Have you seen the original?
Yes, but it's been
Yeah.
really, really,
Yeah.
really a long time.
Yeah. We got to start doing commentaries because we gotta get you more engulfed in the horror thing. I think that's one you would like because A Nightmare on Elm Street's fun. Like, it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
of course, it starts out really serious, but like, I don't know, man. Freddy becomes funny. Like, you kind of root for Freddy.
Yeah, you keep
Because he-
mentioning
once
like
we get
MTV
Freddy.
Freddy.
Yeah. But he does. Like, he's funny. Like, once the rights reverted a couple times and they started like just having fun with it,
Mm-hmm.
he's funny. Like, the shit he says is hilarious. But Elijah Wood had this to say. He said, "We personally have talked a lot internally Elm Street and how incredible it would be to play in that universe again and to see that universe, to see Freddy and how that concept could be explored again. That's something that we're fascinated in. Obviously, this is not a lesser known, smaller thing that should be remade into a big one, but another one that I feel is exciting. I know that there's already a remake coming out, but we would really still love Children of the Corn. I feel like that would be an exciting thing to build from the ground up, taking it from the novel, not remaking the movie, but actually take the short story and flesh that out in an interesting way." So not only is he interested in doing a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, he's interested in doing a Children of the Corn remake. I'm leery in saying that I would trust him with Children of the Corn more than A Nightmare on Elm Street, because A Nightmare on Elm Street has a ton of potential still. I think, as much as I love Halloween, I mean, hell, look behind me. Like, I have Michael Mass and shit all over my room, but like, as much as I love Halloween, I think once Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends come out, they need to let Halloween rest for a little bit. Like, I think you've Halloweened Halloween out. Friday the 13th, you could do something, but they got to get it out of court first. On Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a lot of different ways that they could go about this. You could reboot it. You could do another movie. But I don't know that I would like to see another movie. We're in this streaming war thing, like we just talked about with DC and with Warner Media. We're in this streaming war between Disney and Warner Media and all these different companies. I would almost like to see A Nightmare on Elm Street take the series route. And here's what I would like to. What I would like to see is, the question here and the issue is, what streaming service do you put it on? Because you couldn't have it on cable. Like, there's no way you could have that on cable. To do it right and to do it justice, cable couldn't happen. It would have to be on HBO Max, or it would have to be on Shudder, or whatever streaming service it would be on, or Amazon, Netflix, whatever. I would really like to see, take one season, and season 1 is a prequel. Go through, kids are disappearing, shit's going bad, and you have more of Freddy's not supernatural. Like, you can kind of have like more of a detective mystery type thing. I mean, obviously the audience members, we know that it's Freddy, but he's not supernatural. He hasn't been burned. And then maybe at the end of season 1, after the trial, after he's been released on the fluke or whatever it was, after that, maybe in the season finale of season 1 is when all the parents burn Freddy, and they send him up in flames and he becomes supernatural Freddy. So of course at the end of season 1 you reveal supernatural Freddy who can appear in dreams and do all the crazy shit that Freddy can do. Take season 2, explore maybe the first movie that can be kind of your soft reboot, and your reimagining of the first movie, and then take seasons 3, 4, 5, whatever else, um, and do kind of a Freddy's Nightmares series, but on crack type deal. Um, because they had a Freddy series before, Miguel. I don't know if you know that or not.
No.
Yeah, there was a TV series called Freddy's Nightmares. It didn't last very long, but it was just like a fun, stupid series about Freddy being Freddy. Like every episode was like a new dream and a new like way of trying to get after another kid. Like it was just kind of like dumb. And you could do that with this series. Like I would really like to see a series, a Nightmare on Elm Street series. And again, it doesn't have to be a 16 episode season. Just do like 5 or 6 episodes a season. And like again, first season is just like a mystery thriller type deal. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Parents are trying to put all the pieces together. The cops are trying to put all the pieces together. Maybe Freddy, they finally figure out it's him. And again, the whole idea is that Freddy got released from court on some like weird fluke misinterpreted paperwork type thing, and then the parents take the law into their own hands and burn him alive. And then season 2 is when we start to get actual like supernatural dream invader Freddy, and we move on from there. So that's what I would like to see with the Nightmare on Elm Street. But as far as Elijah Wood, I can't.
I mean, for me with Elijah Wood, like he doesn't have much title or like names under his belt that would help me
Yeah,
dignify my own opinion on his ability to do a Freddy Krueger movie.
as a studio, I feel like as a studio exec, if Elijah came to me and was like, hey, I have this really dope idea, I want you to listen to it. Like, I really think this could be really cool. I'd be down for running with it. Like, I wouldn't count him out, but at the same time, I wouldn't be like, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's a franchise that you don't want to screw up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I mean, it's one of the big 3. Like, you don't want to screw that up.
No, not
So-
at all. And sorry, you told me to look up Freddy's Nightmare. This shit looks whack.
It was wild. Like, it was completely crazy. Wacky, wacky, wacky crazy. Like
I see one of him playing a guitar in a school.
yeah.
I'm
Like, it's just
Freddy
just
Krueger's
wild.
Freddy Krueger's personality is like obnoxious and funny, but as a kid, that shit scared the hell out of me. Cause it's like,
Well, yeah.
it's different. It's different if you have like a serial killer just coming after you, and as compared to Freddy, who is like, he knows he's going to kill you, but he's having fun with it. That's some
Yeah.
scary ass shit.
Well, and he takes his time. Like, he doesn't just like get it like Michael Myers or Jason. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't fucking, like, they just want you gone. Like, it's
Yeah,
just like mindless. Freddy is like, I'm gonna toy with you first. Like, I'm gonna make you wish it was over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
so there's a lot of different directions that they could take a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. But yeah, I'm open to Elijah Wood doing it. I would just, as an executive, I would want to know what he wanted to do exactly. I don't know if I want to see another reboot of just doing telling the same exact story that we told. And there were things about the 2009 reboot, I think it was 2009, that I actually really liked. Like the whole synapses thing where, like dreaming when you're awake and stuff like that, like after you haven't slept for so long. That was awesome. Like when they're in the drugstore and she's like dreaming while she's awake, and it's like she's cutting back and forth between her dream where Freddy's scraping the glove on the wall, and like the pill bottles are falling off. Like, there were a lot of really cool things about that. I think the thing that bothered me most about the reboot was the way he looked, because the guy playing him, I forget his name, did a really, really good job playing Freddy, but they tried to CGI the way Freddy looked, and he looked like a burnt squirrel. Like he looked terrible. Like it
You
just
look like a burnt squirrel.
he looked awful, like for no reason. But yeah,
Nine.
there's a lot of different directions. I'd be down to see what Elijah wanted to do with it. I think there's a you know you got to do right by that series. Like that's big shoes to fill. I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, you're
What the
talking
fuck
like
does this guy look like? What the hell?
arguably Wes Craven's biggest IP. You know,
Yeah.
so other than Scream, so
The hell? He looks like he looks like a slice of pizza that just came out of the oven and you're like pulling it up. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you know how like when you get like a fresh pizza out of the oven and you're like trying to take the first bite and the cheese is just like
Yeah,
yeah,
he really doesn't look very good. But like the
he does
lines in
not.
that movie are good. Like I believe it's one of the first kills. When they believe that the one kid killed his girlfriend or whatever, and they have him in custody, and he's fallen asleep, and he's walking through the boiler room in his dream, and he says, "Oh my God," and he hears behind him, and Freddy's like, "No, it's just me." After he says, "Oh my God," like stuff like that is
Mm-hmm.
really good. For me, I actually liked the "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy" scene in the remake better than I liked it in the original. It was good. I will say this: the Freddy in the remake had a little bit more of a pedophile vibe to him than Freddy in the original. I don't think the original film doesn't really paint him as a pedophile as much. I think touchy that was kind of a touchy thing. The remake kind of makes him like in the remake, he's on top of Nancy in bed and he's kind of like running up her skirt or whatever, and that's when he says, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." Like he says like, "You were always my favorite" or whatever, and then he says, "I'm your boyfriend now," and he like kisses her cheek or whatever. Like they really kind of laced the creeper thing in the remake a little bit more than they did in the original. But it worked. I mean, it's scary, the remake would have been a ton better if he would have looked different. But he didn't look good at all.
You
You
can't
know,
get past the melted pizza.
you really can't. You can't get past a pizza face like nasty looking villain. So,
I
but
gotcha.
that's all I had to say about A Nightmare. I would be completely down to see it take the series route. I don't know what streaming service is right for that. I really don't. Um, my gut says HBO Max. I know everybody says Shutter, but I don't think Shutter has the following to like you know to make the money back. I think HBO Max or Amazon or Netflix would probably be the best.
Perhaps. I mean, then again, like I'm not really a horror fan, so I don't know much about Shutter. But
Shutter, dude. I'm not gonna lie, and you all may disagree with me. The rest of the people in the horror community. I downloaded Shutter for a little bit, and it is not all that. Like I canceled my subscription. Like
it didn't have a good catalog. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know. Like a lot of the stuff that was on there, I was like, it's sitting on my shelf. Like it's right there. Like why do I want this? And even a lot of the series and stuff. Like I was clicking through, nothing really like caught my eye. I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't want it. I don't have a need for it. Um. So yeah.
It's a real shame right there. I was actually because like whenever I was thinking about trying to catch up with some horror movies, I was thinking about downloading Shutter, seeing what I
Well,
can find.
yeah, and I mean, I remember when it came out, I always wanted it. I was like, holy crap, there's a whole streaming platform dedicated to horror. Like, sign me up. But
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't very impressed. It was okay. It was
Man,
okay.
sad day.
That was about it.
Shutter 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Like, it's not great, but it's not like awful. I don't know. It was kind of lukewarm. I feel like
Mm,
you could find a lot of the same shit on Amazon or Netflix or HBO or whatever. So,
maybe.
but let's talk some Marvel news to
Bring
round
in
us out.
Marvel.
This is arguably the biggest conversation of the night. Um, and I let's see. How do we want to do this? Do you want to talk Black Panther first, or do you want to talk the multiverse first?
Let's talk Black Panther and then we'll end with multiverse because I know
I
that's gonna be a top one.
I agree. Let's talk Black Panther. So, as we know, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is set to release on July 8th, 2022. We talked a few weeks ago in our movie news show about Ryan Coogler's discussion with Martin Freeman, who plays Everett Ross, about, the sequel, and kind of went through what he was thinking and kind of the whole script and the treatment for what they were wanting to do. And Martin Freeman said it's very odd. He said Black Panther 2 is not your typical Marvel movie. It's going to be something kind of off in left field and weird. And now there is a new rumor circulating that Namor is going to play a huge role in this film and will be played by Tenoch Huerta.
I think I know
How
what
do
you're
you
talking
say?
about. I think
How do you say?
I think he's in.
How do
Hold
you
on,
say his
hold on,
name?
hold on. I gotta get you. I gotta get that pulled up. Let me see. It's Tenoch Huerta.
Okay,
Yeah,
Tenoch. That's how you say his
and
name.
that's how I'm fucking saying it. I know.
Okay,
I know how to say
Tenoch.
his last name.
I don't know. I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. Um, I looked at his. I'm not very familiar with the dude. I looked at his IMDb. I know he's in Narcos Mexico and a bunch of other Mexican films, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's nothing that I've ever seen or heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, as far as his acting ability, I'm sure he's great. I can't really attest to anything that he's done because I'm very unfamiliar with him. But I saw this
Yo,
story.
but like, okay, I'll let you finish what you guys say because I got something to say about
Well,
this actor.
go ahead, because we're gonna hop into this a little bit more.
Well, I was just gonna say like, as soon as it came out that Huerta was gonna be like Namor,
Mm-hmm.
yo, fucking like the internet jumped on him hard. They just like checked him, and they ended up finding like a shit ton of like really like unflattering things he said on social media, especially Twitter. Like some things like you kind of can't forgive. And I want to, if you guys are interested to see like what he said,
I didn't
go
know any of
ahead,
that.
look him up. Good luck for those of you that don't speak Spanish because they're on Spanish. So, but yeah, he said some really profound shit, and that just goes to show, man. Check, keep an eye on what you say online because that's gonna come and bite your ass. But it will
Interesting.
be interesting to see how he able to take the movie because honestly, I am looking at his filmography. I haven't seen much. I don't know much of this. Like
Well,
Days of Grace, Sin Nombre.
yeah.
Most of these are just movies that I just never seen, other than Narcos Mexico, which I saw a couple episodes of Narcos Mexico, but I never saw him act, so I
I don't
can't
know.
say much.
It's nothing that I was familiar with. And I first saw this on the Illuminati, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's an outlet. It's an outlet. They frequently post like scoops and content. Very often MCU and DC related, but anything pop culture related as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Apparently, Namor's appearance could come in the form of a conflict between Wakanda and between Atlantis, which is kind of weird to me because, I mean, look at like the location of the two of them. Like, what would Wakanda and Atlantis have in common at all, other than the fact that they're two like secret communities of people? Um, I don't know. Of course, my mind when I read the story initially went to Endgame, when before they start going back in time and trying to change what Thanos did. You know, when Nat is talking to all of them via their own cool Zoom call, cooler
Mm-hmm.
Zoom than any of us have. Nat says, to Okoye, "Have you checked out those tremors or whatever, the earthquakes going on?" And Okoye says, like, "It's an earthquake under the ocean. Like, that we handle it by not handling it," or whatever she says. Could she have been covering something up? Could that? I mean, obviously, the Russo brothers confirmed that that was a Namor reference.
Hmm.
Whether they were trying to set something up or whether that was just kind of a cool little Easter egg, I don't know. Um, but I mean, to be completely honest, I don't really know all that much about Namor. He was never a character that I like dove into that much as a kid. So, I mean, I'm stoked to be able to explore Atlantis and to explore the underwater MCU world. I do know he's kind of an anti-hero. Like, I don't think he's not Iron Man. He's not Cap.
No,
Like,
he's
he's,
so he's pretty much like he's the type of person like he's wanting to protect his own city because as you know, Wakanda was pretty secluded from the world because they didn't want their technology to be abused
right.
by outsiders. Well, for Atlantis, they didn't want surface dwellers to destroy their, mythical city. Like I'm sure they like destroyed they like did something there. I'm sure there was a
Right.
war before, and Atlanta doesn't want people to know about Atlantis, and Namor doesn't want people to know about Atlantis. But I think that with Wakanda opening up their city to the world, I think that's going to cause some conflict,
Mm,
and I think that's probably where it'll start
yeah.
because maybe they just want to be kept a secret and the fact that Wakanda is being shown out to the public could be a hint, could be like a hint of coming events
Yeah.
where Atlantis will soon be one of the most no, will be the next hidden city that will be revealed, and they don't want that.
Yeah, I don't know. I more interesting than the casting choice for me was the fact that Namor could be like the main villain technically
Mm-hmm.
in Black Panther Part 2. Uh so I don't know. Is this the weird thing that Martin Freeman was talking about? I have no idea. But I think it's interesting that Namor could make his
MCU.
his MCU debut in Black Panther Part 2. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, let's move on. Let's talk the multiverse. Um, we have a couple of different stories coming out of the Marvel world and the Disney Sony world that are kind of it's interesting and this is going to be an ongoing question with Loki and an ongoing discussion with Loki because obviously we've seen the first episode of Loki. um, Shameless plug on Monday, our 25th episode of Let's Talk Movies. Miguel and I are talking nothing but Loki. We are talking the first episode of Loki, and there's a lot to break down there. There's a lot to break down with this. We've got new reports that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to be a darker film than we've seen in MCU's past. Now, I say new reports. Is it really new? No. We've known that the Multiverse of Madness film is going to be darker than what we've had. But this kind of opens up a broader question in general. How dark is Disney going to go? We know that Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange movie, is not going to return because he could not come to agreement with Kevin Feige and Disney with the tone of the movie. Scott Derrickson wanted to do more of a horror movie type deal, like a thriller. I mean, I don't know what that could have looked like, but Disney wanted to just go dark.
Mm-hmm.
So C. Robert Cargill, who wrote the first Doctor Strange film, said it was creative differences. Scott Derrickson wanted to do one movie, and Marvel wanted to do another movie. Obviously, Sam Raimi is a great choice if they're trying to stay PG-13 while still being dark. I mean, look at Sam Raimi's filmography. You have Drag Me to Hell. You have the Evil Dead series. I mean, lots of horror-based films, but then you have the Spider-Man trilogy too. I
Mm-hmm.
think Sam Raimi is a very universal and very multi-dimensional. No pun
No pun
intended.
intended. Yeah.
Uh, he's a very talented director. But again, the question here is how dark is Disney really going to go? They said Endgame was going to be dark, but was Endgame really dark or was it just dark because of the subject matter and people died and then Iron Man died and I mean I don't know. So I mean, like Miguel, how dark do you think Disney is willing to go with this multiverse madness storyline? Because we know it's obvious now. Like they can deny it all they want, but it is obvious that WandaVision, Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness are all going to like play like they're going to piece together like a puzzle. So how dark do you think Disney is willing to go?
It's not gonna go past PG-13. Tell you that much.
No, it
But
won't.
it's definitely gonna be some knee jerkers in regards of like the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
It's because the main villain's supposed to be Nightmare, if I'm not mistaken. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I don't know. There's some question with that too. There's been a few sources that have said Nightmare is not the main villain. So I really don't know. Like I'm kind of I don't know what to think. And that's why I say this is going to be like an ongoing discussion because I think the events of Loki and the events of Spider-Man No Way Home are really going to kind of attest to what the Multiverse of Madness film is going to be. Because from what I understand, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is kind of the culmination of this multiverse storyline. Um, so I don't know. I mean, like, here's my take on it. Would I love to see a rated R Doctor Strange movie? Absolutely. Sure. But I know that's never going to happen. No. Disney is never going to let that happen. And again, this has got to be the big finale in this like quadrilogy type deal. So I think they have to do something darker than they've done. But
I think a lot of people are just going to die.
You think?
I think just a lot of people are just going to die.
I mean, do you think the end of Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be dark, or do you think it's going to resolve? Because I kind of, based on what we're seeing and the direction that I feel like we're going, I think the end of Spider-Man. I think the end of Spider-Man No Way Home may not resolve in the way that we might want it to. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's a big question there with what the Multiverse of Madness film is really going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also a lot of question as to how this Spider-Man universe is going to change because, there's some interesting news that broke a few weeks ago, and that people have speculated on this, God, for years now, since 2018 when Venom came out, because apparently, per a Sony exec, there is a plan to link Sony's Spider-Man universe with Disney's Spider-Man universe once and for all. This was on Variety. So this is legit. This is going to happen per a Sony exec. Obviously Sony's tried to build somewhat of a Spider-Man universe themselves. Like they've got Venom. They've got Let There Be Carnage coming out this year. Morbius is coming out. And of course, like Aaron Taylor Johnson just got cast as Kraven in his own film, which I still am not completely sold on. But not only does Sony have their own Spider-Man universe plans, Disney does too. We talked about this in episode 2, the rumored high school trilogy, the college trilogy, the adult trilogy, and what's going to happen with that. We've heard that the college trilogy is going to be a lot darker because they're supposedly going to introduce the Punisher and Kingpin and Venom and a whole bunch of darker villains into the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe. So obviously to us as fans, it's unclear how this is going to tie together, but there may be a light at the end of the tunnel.
No, there's no light. It's gonna get dark as fuck. As the years go by, it's gonna get dark. No, I don't think it's gonna get that dark. But I think that the tone of the movies are gonna start becoming more heavy, if that makes sense. Like there's more at stake, if that makes sense.
Yes. I would completely agree.
Like the stakes are higher, and the decisions they make are gonna translate for years to come. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. So Sanford Pantic, who is the Sony Pictures president, said this. He said, "We don't really think of our 900 characters as the Spideyverse. We have a Marvel universe. The volume of characters we have, wait until you see the next Venom film. You don't miss Spider-Man. It'll be exciting." But, well, let me back up. He said, you don't miss Spider-Man in Venom Let There Be Carnage. Like, there's enough characters. We have enough going on that Spider-Man won't be missed. But he chased that sentence. He did his shot of whiskey, but he's chasing that. He said, it would be exciting if they do meet, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, hinting. But, like, it's going to happen. So it's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Obviously, it's like the most recent of the hints that we're looking at something a little bit bigger than Sony's universe and Disney's universe. They're going to come together at some point. This article from Variety mentioned like the cameo from Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, it was the same haircut, same everything. Like, it's Vulture. I mean, it is from the Tom Holland universe. And of course, you also saw in the Morbius trailer the mural of Spider-Man on the wall, which to me, I've gone back and watched it. It looks like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Like it does. It looks like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the wall. Like the spider is the same as his signature
pose too.
Yeah, like it looks like his. So that's hinting at a multiverse thing too. He also went on to say, and this is the big crucial part of this, there actually is a plan. I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed, and I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed.
Even more will be revealed.
It's gonna happen. Like you and I have been strong believers in this whole this Spider-Verse thing with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all of these different characters like coming in together is gonna be a thing. He even went on to say, like, he hinted at the Sinister Six, like a multi-dimensional Sinister Six, again, which people have speculated is going to be Alfred Molina's Doc Ock from the Raimi trilogy and Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, Michael Keaton's Vulture, just like a bunch. I think the multiverse is set. Like, I think that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be a massive, like one of the biggest MCU films we've gotten to date.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, would you agree with that?
Well, it's the fact that we're combining two studios together. It's going to be probably one of the biggest crossovers that we have studio-wise.
Yeah.
Biggest studio crossover we have to see. Yeah, ever.
Yeah. And it seems to me like the relationship between Disney and Sony really strengthened because they had their share of like of swinging at each other for a little while over Spider-Man. Like they were pissed. Like they were fighting over Spider-Man and fighting over their his villains and all the different characters and things like that. But Pantic also said the great thing is we have this very excellent relationship with Kevin, talking about Kevin Feige. There's an incredible sandbox there to play with. We want those MCU movies to be absolutely huge, because that's great for us and our Marvel characters. And I think that the same thing on their side. But we have a great relationship. There's lots of opportunities, and I think that they're going to happen. Again, we were talking about the Warner Brothers Snyder thing. This has become a staple on our show too. I think this multiverse thing I think it's legit. Like, I know there's been speculation. I know there's been rumors, and Marvel has shot it down. Andrew Garfield shot it. Like, all the different people have shot it down. I think it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think so too.
And I think they're trying to hint at it now. Like, I think we're getting to a point where we're going to get a reveal. I think sometime, if not in June, in early July, we are going to get a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think if they're going to play their cards right, they need to reveal the fact that this is a Spider-Verse movie. And they need to reveal Tobey and Andrew. Even if they don't show a whole lot, even if it's for 2 seconds at the end of the trailer, show the three of them together, because that is going to hype people the hell up. I mean, just like a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll break the internet for like a solid week.
Oh, yeah. Here's my theory. I think that for a long time, Sony wanted Spider-Man to themselves. Like, they didn't want to play ball with Disney at all. They wanted to do their own thing by telling their own stories, and that was their way of competing with the MCU, which is a terrible idea. Like, let's be real. It really is. You can't compete with the MCU with one character, even if it is Spider-Man. But of course, Disney being like the biggest player in the game, that was never going to fly with them. Like, it wasn't. So I think Kevin Feige and the Disney execs sat down with Sony and were like, hey, this is what we want to do. Like, like this multiverse story can work. Like, you guys can still do your thing. We can still do our thing. And we can also have this middle ground where we share characters, and they convince Sony to play ball. So this way, again, Sony does whatever they want, Disney does whatever they want, but they share the rights and the storylines with the MCU and with each other. It's a win-win situation. Everybody gets what they want. They took the war for the character and they made it into a win-win situation. And it's a genius one. Like, it's a really good. I know, thank God, because when they had said that Tobey Maguire, when they had said that what the hell am I talking about? Tom Holland. When they said Tom Holland wasn't going to be in the MCU anymore, I was like, what? Like, how do you write that out? Like, you had this whole story arc with Tony. How do you just write that out of existence?
It was literally like a month or two after Far From Home came out. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it was like, as soon as that movie dropped, Sony was like, he's ours. Yep. Like, what? So I that's what I think happened. I think Disney came to them and they were like, hey, we can do this. We can do this together, and we can make this work, and it can be baller, and we can make that money.
We can do this, okay?
We can do each other.
I know we are divorced. We can do this. We can make this work. We can take care of this child named Spider-Man together, even though we're divorced.
So, I don't know. That's what I think. Guys, comment down below. Let us know, what do you think of this Marvel multiverse thing going on? Where do you want to see this multiverse storyline go? It's obvious that WandaVision and Loki and Spider-Man and Multiverse of Madness are going to tie in, and that they are going to be the future of the MCU. We are talking Loki on episode 25 of Let's Talk Movies this Monday, but that is going to do it for us this week for this week's episode of Let's Talk Movie News. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Please, if you would, let us know what you thought of this week's movie news in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on Spotify or Apple or Google or any of the other podcast platforms, tweet at us at We Talk the Movies. We're very excited about the next few weeks. Commentaries, extra videos, trailer reactions, news shows, the works. We're going to go on lots of dates late at night and drink beer together.
So many.
And have fun. So it's a very exciting time for us movie fans. So follow us on Twitter and Instagram, please, and keep up with us. So we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Monday. Peace.
Peace.